Rain hit the prison yard like tiny needles, cold and merciless, as the women shuffled back to their cells after the brief, mandatory outdoor time. Among them walked Lena Hartman, once a celebrated hairdresser known for her soft touch, color mastery, and effortless cuts that made clients glow. She had turned 24 just 3 weeks earlier, but there was no celebration, no cake. Just a whispered happy birthday from her cellmate and a stale cup of instant coffee. Now, instead of the fragrant comfort of hair products and the humming chatter of a salon, Lena spent her days behind iron bars and surveillance cameras. Her orange overall was stiff from repeated washes, the fabric always slightly damp from the heavy prison air. Her cell was plain: a metal bunk, a stainless steel sink, and nothing sharp. Scissors, once an extension of her hand, were now a luxury she could no longer touch. She hadn't meant to threaten her ex, not in the way the court described. She had screamed, yes. Who wouldn't after being betrayed, stalked, and humiliated? But a pair of shears raised in anger during a shouting match had sealed her fate. Her sentence? 2 years in state prison. Lena carried her pain and shame like a hidden bruise. The worst part? Her hair. It was her pride, her signature. A thick chestnut waterfall of smooth waves that fell to her mid-back, always glossy and well-kept, even in prison. Every night she braided it tightly to keep it from tangling. She washed it meticulously during showers, using what little product she could trade for. Bar soap softened into paste, sometimes mixed with contraband conditioner packets from the commissary. Her hair was the last thing she had control over. But that was about to change. It started as whispers. Hushed rumors exchanged between bunkmates. A girl from Block C had been scratching constantly. Then another. Raw patches on her scalp, crying in the showers. The announcement came one morning during roll call. The guards stood sterner than usual, their radios buzzing with static. There's been a confirmed outbreak of lice across multiple blocks. Officer Daniels barked. Medical has determined the safest course of action is immediate intervention. All female inmates will report to the processing room after breakfast for delousing. A murmur ran through the rows of prisoners like an electric current. Delousing? One woman repeated. You mean like shampoo, right? Someone else added. But Daniel's next words crushed their hope. Everyone is to be shaved bald. Effective today. Non-compliance will result in isolation. No, gasped someone from the back. You can't do that, Lena shouted before she could stop herself. She earned a sharp glare and a pointed finger. Inmate Hartman, you just volunteered to be first. Lena's legs turned to jelly. It didn't happen immediately. They were marched to the cafeteria first, where no one touched their food. Eyes were red and swollen. Some girls whispered prayers, others stared blankly ahead. Lena sat with her tray untouched, her stomach twisted in knots. The idea of someone buzzing her hair down to the skin, her hair made her want to vomit. Why do we all have to be shaved? Moaned her friend Jasmine. Why not just check us? They don't have time for that, Lena said softly. And they don't care. After the meal, the guards split them into groups. Lena's group, about 10 women, were taken to the old medical ward, a tiled, sterile room that reeked of disinfectant and misery. Inside, folding chairs were spaced out like a makeshift salon. Extension cords coiled on the floor, leading to clippers on a metal table. A few guards stood by, arms crossed, while a nurse gave orders. Lena Hartman, Jasmine Rivera, Hannah Doyle. You 3 have been selected to assist with the head shaves. You have experience. You'll be using clippers only, no razors. Lena's heart dropped. You want us to shave the others? You want to reduce the outbreak or not? The nurse snapped. You'll wear gloves and masks. You'll each be supervised. Start with your group. Jasmine looked pale, shaking her head. This is a nightmare. Lena didn't argue. She was too numb. She felt her feet carry her to the station like she was walking through water. The first woman sat down reluctantly, her eyes swollen from crying. She trembled under the vinyl cape they draped over her orange jumpsuit. Her hands were clenched in her lap. Lena picked up the clippers. They buzzed loudly in the quiet room, like a hornet trapped in a box. The vibration made her wrist tremble. This wasn't a salon. This was humiliation. "Please, be gentle," the woman whispered. Lena nodded, pressing the clippers to the center of her scalp and guiding them slowly backward. The blades sheared through her long blonde hair with painful ease. Thick locks tumbled into the cape and down onto the floor. The woman sobbed silently, her chest rising and falling with each pass. Lena didn't speak. She couldn't. All she could do was work methodically, clearing away section after section until the scalp gleamed pink and bare under the harsh lights. 1 down, 9 to go. The next inmate cursed throughout her shave. "This is bulls. This is abuse," she yelled, jerking her head until the guard stepped in to hold her still. Her dark curls came off in clumps. Lena was rougher this time, out of stress, out of helplessness. The woman spat at the floor when it was done, then stormed to the corner and curled up, her bald head in her hands. Each woman reacted differently. Some sobbed the entire time. Others sat like statues. Lena worked mechanically, gloves sticking to her skin, the clippers getting hot in her hands. She shaved them one by one, the hair piling up on the floor like autumn leaves. Then came the moment she dreaded most. "Last one," a guard called out. "Lena Hartman, sit." Lena froze. I thought I was doing the shaving." "You're also an inmate," the nurse replied coldly. "Now sit." Jasmine reached for the clippers. Her hands shook violently. "No," Lena whispered. She turned and fled toward the door, but a guard stepped into her path. "Don't make this harder." Lena stood still. Tears welled up, then broke. "Please, I've taken care of it. I wash it, I braid it, it's clean. Please don't." The nurse was unmoved. "That's not your choice." She was marched to the chair and forced to sit. A cape was thrown over her. Jasmine stepped behind her, silent. Lena's body trembled. "Be gentle." Jasmine turned on the clippers. They buzzed against Lena's ears. The first pass came at the crown. Lena felt the vibration on her scalp before she heard the hair fall. A thick chunk of her wavy chestnut strands slid down her shoulder and onto the cape. She let out a choked sob. Another pass, and more hair fell, brushing against her cheeks, sliding onto the floor. The clippers moved over her head with slow deliberation, exposing pale skin beneath the rich waves that once gave her identity. She cried uncontrollably, hiccuping with each stroke. Jasmine paused once, her own eyes tearing up, but the guards barked. "Finish it." So she did. Lena's long hair, the result of years of care, love, and protection, was now a pile on the floor. Her scalp was completely exposed, smooth and pink, her head cold under the fluorescent lights. When the cape was unfastened, hair tumbled to the floor like a final curtain call. Lena didn't move. She just sat there, bald and broken. Lena stared at the strands of hair littering the tiles around her feet. Chestnut brown, glossy in the light, like the remnants of someone else's life. The silence was deafening. Even the guard seemed hesitant now. Jasmine stood behind her, clippers still in her hand, breathing unevenly. "Lena, I'm sorry, Lena raised a hand. "It's not your fault." Her voice cracked. That evening, the dorms were silent. Normally, there was chatter, laughter, bickering, anything to pass the time. But that night, the air was hollow. Dozens of women lay on their bunks, newly bald, their heads gleaming under the ceiling lights. No scarves, no hats were allowed. The guards insisted they leave heads uncovered to prove the delousing was complete. Lena sat cross-legged on her bunk, feeling the ridges of her scalp. Her fingertips explored the unfamiliar terrain. Smooth here, a bump there, then a cold patch near the back where her hairline used to start. She tried to imagine a version of herself where this was normal. A strong, bald woman, maybe even beautiful in her vulnerability. But the pain was still too fresh.